Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunivadi Pashata. So we're continuing with our discussion on the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm going to mute you all first. So first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, first verse. We're continuing with the part. So further on, Prabhupada writes, in this shloka, the particular words Abhigya and Swarat are significant. So these two words are used for Krishna. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living entities. No other living entity is either Abhigya or Swarat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. So only Krishna is fully cognizant. He knows everything. He knows about everything. And he is fully independent. He is not dependent on anybody for his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything else depends on Krishna, but he is not dependent on anybody else. So sometimes in the past times we see Krishna tells Yashoda Maya, you feed me, I cannot eat myself, or whatever. He goes and steals butter from gopis' houses. Or Yashoda Maya also tells him that you drink milk, otherwise you will not grow up. This doesn't mean Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of God. He is, but here in these pastimes, he acts. Not just act, actually acting would be wrong word. He behaves like he is completely dependent on Yashoda, just to enhance her Vatsalya mood and to enhance Krishna's mood also to reciprocate with Yashoda Maya. So he lets Yogmaya cover himself. Yogmaya is his energy, and he lets Yogmaya cover Krishna. So Krishna forgets that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he behaves just like an ordinary little boy, so that Yashoda Maya can have full relationship, full satisfaction by treating Krishna as a little boy. So he behaves, or in the past time he behaves just like he is fully dependent on Yashoda Maya or on for that matter, other devotees in different pastimes. But still, he is fully independent because he lets Yogmaya, he orders Yogmaya to cover himself so he can really relish those pastimes. But otherwise, he is fully independent. Many times we'll read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord yourself. Why you are asking us? You should not be. You know what to do, you know what to decide. But Mahaprabhu, out of his humility and out of the pastime he was performing as a devotee, he would still go and ask them. But just to make the pastime more relishable. But otherwise he's fully independent and fully cognizant. He knows everything. Although he knows everything, but one thing even Krishna doesn't know. The thing is, he does not know the love of Radharani for himself, the feelings of Radharani for himself, and the pleasure that she receives when she is in love with Krishna. So to relish, to understand these things, then Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the mood of, he is Krishna himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Just to understand these features of Radharani's love. So he tries to understand as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and once he understands the bhav of Srimati Radharani, then he could not hold himself. And Srimati Radharani always composes herself. But Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could not hold himself by understanding the bhav of Radharani. So in that way, he understands that also after a while. But that's his pastime again. So, but other than that, he is, because that, I mean, this is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are talking the Chaitanya Charitamrita stories. But otherwise, he is fully cognizant, he knows everything about everything, and he is fully independent. He is not dependent on anybody. Prabhupada further writes, even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord in order to create. Even he himself is not independent. Brahma is not independent. Then what to speak of great scientists like Einstein? The brains of such a scientist are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain. And what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the Lord? And foolish atheists, they say there is no Lord. Everything is just going on by its own. No, there's a very supreme brain that's working behind the whole creation. Even Mayavadi impersonalists who flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither Abhigya nor Swarat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge, to become one with the Lord. So those impersonalists also, the followers of Shankara school, they undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge. But Krishna does not become God by acquiring some knowledge. Krishna is always Krishna. Krishna is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atheists like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. In Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, they had to undergo severe penances before they could get some powers, some energies to fight with Ram or fight with the Nrsimhadev. But Krishna or Nrsimhadev, they didn't have to go and undergo any austerities to get the powers. He's always had those powers. But ultimately, they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared to them as cruel death. This is also the case with the modern atheists who also dare to flout the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever men neglect the authority of the Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in the well-known verse, Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever there is a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, O Arjuna, then I incarnate myself. So all the atheists who does not believe or who want to challenge the authority of the Lord, they will always also be dealt with similarly, just like Ravan and Hiranyakashipu, they try to challenge the authority of Krishna or Ram and Nrsimhadev. But even as neophyte devotees like us, we are struggling to even take up the process of bhakti. So many times we also challenge the authority of Krishna in the way that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Controller, Enjoyer, Proprietor. But when we try to become, or when we try to act like I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, but because we are trying to be devotees, we are trying to make some progress on this path. So Krishna, he does not deal with us like he did with Ravana or Hiranyakashipu. So he just gives little slap here or there, just to put us back on the track. Don't forget. He tells us, I am the supreme controller, I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer. You guys are not. So, because we have these tendencies, these asuric or demonic or controlling, enjoying, these propensities are there. So he does give us a little slap here or there. But at least we are not against Krishna. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So sometimes we also try to be not the supreme, but we try to be the controllers. And that's where the problem starts. So when we get the slaps here or there, then we cry for a while, we understand the position, then we get back on the track. That the Supreme Lord is all perfect is confirmed in all the Shruti mantras. It is said in the Shruti mantras that the all perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. So the all perfect Lord, so Mahavishnu, he just looks at all the material universes, and from his body, all the souls, they come and they enter the different universes and to the different species of life. And if we want to play the role of Krishna or Supreme Lord, then we should also be able to just glance at somebody and create all the living beings, but we cannot do that. So cannot all these impersonalists who profess, who kind of say this philosophy that we all are one. Soham means I am that. The actual meanings of Soham is I am that in the sense means I am a spirit soul, I am not this body. But they tend to get to the point that I am that Supreme Lord Himself. So I've forgotten because I'm in material world. But the Supreme Lord, like Krishna, when he was here performing pastimes and on earth, he still was the Supreme Lord. He never comes under the control of Maya. But how can, if we are Supreme Lord, how come we came under the control of Maya? So this is nonsense philosophy that they profess. So we have to be careful with this Mayavadi philosophy. Only Krishna, all perfect Lord, threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and He impregnates a vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks, and thus the creative energies are set in motion to enact so many wonderful creations. So one question, the living entities or living beings are part and parcel of the Lord. In Hindi, it is called Ansha. But in English, whenever Prabhupada translated, he always wrote the living beings are part and parcel. So what does it mean, part and parcel? Part means very minute part of the Supreme Being. So living entity is very minute. And just like in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada has mentioned, the size of the soul is 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. So that way we are very small, very minute. But what about the parcel? What does it mean to be parcel? Parcel means we have the same qualities that Krishna has, but in very minute, very, very minute quantity. Qualities are same. It is, of course, we cannot become Krishna once we are realized, once we are self-realized, once we become perfect. That doesn't mean we're going to become Krishna. We're still going to remain very minute part of Krishna. The perfection of a living being is when he understands I am a servant of Krishna and he is completely, fully, thoroughly engaged in the service of Krishna, without any tinge of material desire, without any tinge of being the controller, proprietor, enjoyer. When he becomes a perfect devotee, that is the perfection of the soul. But he will still remain as part and parcel. That part will never change. we have the same qualities of Krishna, means we are spirit. Sat Chit, Krishna is Sat Chit and Ananda. We also Sat Chit and Ananda, and also we have the qualities. Just like it is said that Krishna has 64 qualities. Narayan feature has 60 qualities. Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. And Lord Brahma has 50 qualities. So any living entity, when he tries to become perfect, tries the process on the path of bhakti, we can at the most come to the level of 50 qualities perfectly. That's it. Because Shiv Tattva is different. Shiv Tattva is between Vishnu and Jeev Tattva, and we'll never come to the level of Lord Shiva either. And forget about Lord Narayan, who has 60 qualities. So 50 qualities, but that too completely perfectly. Right now, we have those 50 qualities, but in very imperfect way. So this is what we have to evolve to. And Prabhupada writes, and he impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks. So that means from his body, all the spirit souls come and they enter each and every universe and each and every species. And thus the creative energies are set in motion. Until this spiritual spark comes in different species, matter is not going to move on its own until this energy, the source, the spiritual spark comes in the matter. But still, as explained, I had explained earlier, and it's explained later on in other cantos, until Paramatma also enters in the matter, there cannot be any motion of the matter. Just because the spirit soul is there doesn't mean there will be any activity. Until the source of energy, which is Paramatma, that doesn't enter the matter. An atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker. But of course, God is greater because he can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. So atheists keep on arguing different way. And Prabhupada writing, God is no more expert than a watchmaker. He has just assembled everything together. But no, he has created, Prabhupada writing, he has created two machines who can combine and produce a third machine. Which two computers can get together and produce a third computer? There's no way. Only God is able to do that. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. So no matter how technically or technologically we become advanced, we cannot create two machines that get together and produce a third machine on its own without the manufacturer's attention. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. Another name of God is Asamordhava. Asamordhava means Sam Urdhva. Sam means same, Urdhva means better or higher. So there is no one better, same or better than Krishna. We don't even come close to be same. Forget about being greater. So that's why his name is Asamordhava. Param Satyam, or the supreme truth, is he who has no equal or superior. That's why he's called Supreme Absolute Truth. This is confirmed in the Shruti Mantra. It is said that before the creation of material universe, there existed the Lord only, who is master of everyone. That Lord instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge that Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Anyone who wants to get rid of material entanglement must surrender unto him. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the only way to get out of this material entanglement. If we cannot get out by our own tapasya, by our own gyan, by our own yoga or anything else, by our own karmas, no. Only by surrendering unto Him we can get out of this material entanglement. Even the Hatha yogis or Jnana yogis or Karma yogis, once they come to the level of perfection, their level of perfection is they understand, they come to this realization that without the mercy of Krishna, we cannot even perform our Jnana yoga, Hatha yoga, Karma yoga properly. Then they surrender. So that surrender process is shown in Bhakti Marg from very beginning. Bhakti Marg means surrender and then we make the progress. That's it. Unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. Bewildered by this material energy. Maya will always keep on acting on it. When an intelligent man surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma or a great soul. So the quality of Mahatma is he is completely surrendered to Krishna and he knows that Krishna is all in all. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Some Mahatma Sudurlabha is rarely seen who is completely surrendered. Only the Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creations. He is Param or absolute truth because all other truths are relative to him. He is omniscient, for him there is no illusion. So he is Param. Krishna is the Param or ultimate truth because all other truths, whatever truths that we know of, are related to him or they are dependent upon him. Right now, our truth is okay. I'm sitting in this room, but this room belongs to somebody else, and ultimately, all these energies belong to Krishna. And my body also, whatever I think I am, that also is part of energies of Krishna. So everything is dependent on Him only. Our whole identity that we know of as it is, it also depends on Krishna. So these truths, these are all relative truths. Everything is dependent on Krishna. Some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Sri Vyasadeva. Another illogic that they produce. And some of them suggest that this book is a modern creation written by someone named Vopadeva. In order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sridhar Swami points out that there is reference to the Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. So that's why when we discussed earlier, Bhagavatam was compiled by Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago. But Bhagavatam, if not in the book form, but as person Bhagavatam, existed from the beginning of creation. So that's why Sridhar Swami is writing that there is reference to Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. So Bhagavatam is existing from time immemorial, from the beginning of creation. This first shloka of Bhagavatam begins with the Gayatri mantra. There is reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said that the Bhagavatam, that in it there are many narrations of spiritual instructions, that it begins with the Gayatri mantra, and it contains the history of Vritrasura. So this story of Vritrasura we'll read when we get to that pastime. So it is mentioned that this Bhagavatam was mentioned in Matsya Purana also. So it's a very old creation. Now, a very wonderful line that we all should listen to and with attention. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on a full moon day attains to the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. So anyone who makes a gift of this great work means you can buy this Srimad Bhagavatam set on a full moon day, on a Purnima day, attains to the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. But our purpose is not just to buy or give it as a gift, we have to read it also, every day. then it is really beneficial. There is reference to Bhagavatam in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos. So it has 12 cantos, means Bara Skandha, we call it. And Prabhupada, when he translated, when he wrote his commentary, so some cantos, they were so big, means his commentary became so big, so he had to make volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. So in ISKCON, what we study, we have 18 books, 18 sets. So 18 books are there in one set of Srimad Bhagavatam, which include 18,000 shlokas. In the Padma Purana also, there is reference to Bhagavatam in a conversation between Gautam and Maharaja Ambarish. The king was advised therein to read regularly Srimad Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from material bondage. So, by mercy of Radhakrishna Prabhu, so we also are studying, trying to study every day, because he inspired everybody. So thanks to him, although he hasn't joined in today yet. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of the Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars and acharyas like Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vallabhacharya, and many other distinguished scholars, even after the time of Lord Chaitanya, made elaborate commentaries on the Bhagavatam. And the serious student would do well to attempt to go through them to better relish the transcendental messages. So many acharyas have written their commentaries explaining different shlokas in the way of that they have realized Krishna or their relationship with Krishna, and they're wonderful commentaries. We can read so many, but if you just read Srila Prabhupada's commentary, that will suffice actually, because Prabhupada has taken the essence of commentaries of all these scholars, and he has given his commentaries in very simple to understand language. So we should make it a point that we should read Bhagavatam every day. We attend every day this class, half an hour, that is good. But if you can go home and read one purport every day, that will really help. So I'll stop it here and ask anybody has any questions. I'll unmute you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, is this wrong to have a material desire while doing Krishna Bhakti?
No. See, we all have material desires. Slowly, when we make progress in bhakti, slowly those desires will go away. So do not feel guilty of having material desires. Don't worry.
Thank you.
When we make progress, Krishna will take care of it. Don't worry.
If anybody wants to have a bhakti in his any life he gets, his desire is to get Krishna Bhakti, whatever body gets. So it is okay, or
What do you mean, whatever body he gets?
Any body, any birth he gets in an animal body or a human body. But the desire is to serve Krishna. So is this wrong?
See, desire is to serve Krishna in other species of life. It's very difficult to serve.
Right.
So it's better to have human body. But like we when we were discussing the Mahatmya, the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, anybody who has read Srimad Bhagavatam, definitely he will not go to the lower species of life. At least we'll have human body to start off wherever we are left. And this process of bhakti is not going to be finish in one lifetime, that's for sure. When we read Nectar of Devotion, we can read from there that this, of course, if we have all come into the path, so maybe we had made some beginning in the previous lives. So we are continuing from there. So we'll continue from here also, next life. the idea is to take up the process seriously, so we don't have any more fights. But even if we don't finish, then Krishna will make the arrangements next life also.
You too.
Hare Krishna, I have a question, but that's not relating to this. Actually, I wanted to understand the meaning of the prayer that you start before the session.
Those are two shlokas from Bhagavatam only. Nashtapaya Shabhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Those shlokas will come in Bhagavatam only, and then we can discuss more. Basically, it's me praying to Vyasadeva, Guru, Saraswati, everybody. They give me the mercy. So I'm not qualified at all to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not at the level of Shukdev Goswami. It's just the order of Srila Prabhupada is there for us, all of us to go and preach. We are trying to make a little humble attempt. So, but to make that attempt, we need the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Guru, Vyasadeva, Saraswati ji, Krishna himself. So we pray to them to give us the mercy so we can speak properly. That's all. So, well, Vanna Mataji and Pooja Mataji, they are standing outside their office. They have to get inside the building.
Yes.
So we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. It was wonderful reading Bhagavatam and discussing with you all.
Very much.
Have a great day. Chant and at least read one purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.